Hey guys, it's Phil Bailey, Architect Major at Academy of Art University. I'm going to be sharing with you my Project 1, which is called The Room, the Table, and the Window. A little introduction. I just wanted to say, first of all, semester 1, first time, online, and definitely loving it, definitely having a good time. And also, this is just going to be a quick tutorial to show you guys kind of my idea, my project, and to show you a little introduction to AutoCAD if you maybe have never used AutoCAD, or if you just kind of want some quick tips. I definitely am quick tips all day long, so stay tuned for that. I'm going to try to make this video between 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 10 minutes, or something like that. Just depends on how things go. So let's kind of dive into what the project is. I'm actually reading on Evernote. I have Evernote Premium now. And Evernote is a note-taking app that I mention a lot. It's a very useful app. Basically it says we have to design a 10 by 10 room adjacent to a 10 by 10 exterior courtyard. And we need human figures. We got to draw a one-point perspective. We have to draw plan, section, etc. And it says that, where is that part at? It says it is up to the student to define what constitutes window, table, room, courtyard. And this is a part that I'm excited about, to see what you guys all chose for your project. I will show you a little snippet of my one-point perspective. You can see that, and I will zoom in the video in my plan view. But basically, I decided to do kind of like a my scenario was, a client they have a loft and they have some extra space, they have a rooftop access, and they want to basically build a new master bedroom with kind of an indoor-outdoor office, tea room, meditation room, quiet room, courtyard. And so basically I'm going to go ahead and go on AutoCAD and show you my plan and share with you what I did, and I'll explain kind of what I was doing or what I was thinking in the process. So here we go. Going to AutoCAD. Currently using AutoCAD 2007. It's a very old model, 2007, but it is very basic for people that aren't familiar with AutoCAD. This is a great one to start in because there's not a whole lot of features that overwhelm you. And a lot of the time when I do modeling, I do a very advanced style modeling called XREFs, and you'll learn about those, and I'll tell you what those are more in a minute. But basically I use XREFs, and I use basic geometries, lines, arcs, circles, and all that kind of stuff to build kind of these Lego blocks of what it is I'm trying to do. And I'll just show you basic. I do everything by the command line. I hardly ever use any buttons or anything like that. So we got our blank canvas here. Type in UN. UN is a shortcut for units. It's how you set up whether you're going to use architectural. You see you got decimal, engineering, fractional, scientific. I leave it at architectural, 1/32 of an inch, because generally that's the margin of error for a house, or that's the level of precision for a house. A building, skyscraper, 64th, 128, 256, whatever. And I usually leave degrees to 0, or sometimes I go 3 decimal places depending on what I'm doing. But that's basically how to do that part. Another thing is a DS, which is drafting settings. And by the way, when you type in a command, you just type in the command, and then you can hit either space bar or enter. They do the same thing. So here, I don't usually worry about snapping or grid because I normally don't use a grid. But what I do is object snap, and I select endpoint, midpoint, center, node, quadrant, and intersection, perpendicular, tangent. These are the different ways in which lines can kind of connect to each other. And now we're just going to do basic shapes real quick, and then I'll show you my plan. So basic shape would be like, let's draw a line. So you can type in L-I-N-E, hit enter, and then it says specify first point. I'm just going to click the mouse one time, then I can move the mouse. I have it in a mode called ortho, which is it's a F8 to take it in and out of ortho. And ortho, just kind of like we have our our orthographic projections. It's up and down, left and right, either vertical or horizontal. You can't go diagonal. Orthogonal is basically perpendicular, either vertical or horizontal. So as you see here, as I move the mouse to any direction, it will go toward that direction. I'll just click there. I can hit enter again, and there's my line. If I want to know how long that line is, I can just select the line by dragging. You see when I drag green, it's going to, anything that's green that I touch is going to select that object. I can clear out my selection with the escape key, and then I can try to draw another way with the blue. Blue will only select an object that the whole object is inside the blue. And you see here there's nothing, it's not all the way inside, so it's not selecting it. I would have to go all the way outside here and select it and hit escape to exit. To figure out how long this line is, I can select the line by any method, hit LI, and LI stands for I think list, but I'm not 100% sure. But LI is a good function, and it brings up this dialog, and it shows you down here length is 8 feet 8 and 29/32 of an inch. Tells you different angles and all kind of extra information you can just get out of that. But let's say I wanted to draw a line that was specifically 3 feet. I would just hit L for line, hit enter. I would start somewhere, click a point, and as you start to draw, you see kind of this this dialog box, and it says some numbers. I can just type in 3 and the foot symbol, hit enter. That's going to give me, and I'll hit enter again, that's going to give me a 3-foot line, and to verify that all I have to do is select it with any method, hit LI, hit enter, and it's going to show me that I have 3 feet of the line. Now one advanced feature kind of is to I can do a line, say, and hit spacebar this time. It's going to do the same thing, ask me to specify a point, and I can type in 0, 0 because I use coordinates a lot. A lot of my designs are circular, and I use concentric circles, which means that the circles share the same center point. And a circle is nothing more than a line that is kind of rotated around the center point. And I can do 0, 0, and it's going to start drawing this line from the 0 point, and then I can just kind of click anywhere, and there's that. But you see that it's off screen because 0, 0 is way over there somewhere. So I'm going to hit P for pan, enter or spacebar. Then I can drag around on the screen, and you can see as I drag, you see my plan coming into view, and see 0, 0 is way over here. But what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of that line. So I'm just going to select it using the green selection, and by the way that you drag will make it either blue or green. So I have that selected. I'm going to hit delete. Now I want to show you guys the actual full drawing, my full plan. So we're going to go hit Z for zoom, hit enter one time. It's going to give us some options, and we want to hit the letter A for all, which is a shortcut to the sub menu. We're going to hit A again, and now it shows us the entire plan. And this is my plan. So starting down here, all this extra stuff is basically a 3-way archway, and this arch here on the far right is the arch that lets you into this human occupiable or human occupied space. And then here in the center is going to be a glass wall, structural glass wall, and there's going to be a door of some kind to get you from one room to the other room. this is the courtyard, and this line is part of a structure that I'm building, which is a solar water heater kind of manifold, if you will. So basically, this direction here is south, and this is north, and this is east here, and this is west. So the idea is that in this room, this client here can, the master bedroom is kind of over here somewhere, and the client can basically, come into this room. They can have some tea. They can. Here's the table, by the way. It's going to be a half circle. And the table is actually able to slide left and right along the wall, possibly as an option, just to do some cool modern masterpiece type stuff. That's my business. That's my company name. Is MCM Phil Bailey, who stands for Modern and Classical Masterpieces by Phil Bailey. So, I'm really big into curves and curvy stuff, so that's kind of why I decided to do this. I'm also a big fan of arches, so that's why I have 3 arches, and I'm big into feng shui. So I pay attention to like photography, rule of thirds, and feng shui, and different good numbers like odd numbers, 3, 5, 7, 9. Any numbers that you're able to have things kind of centered, and pairs and opposites and all that kind of stuff, different elements. I'm really big into that study as well. So basically, this is what I'm doing here. And then if I pan a little bit over here, this part of the courtyard is the last arch. This last arch is basically going to be maybe a window / doorway. Maybe it might be a doorway to lead to this courtyard. There's going to be a small tree planted somewhere in the center. And like I said, this section over here is going to be the solar water heater. And also, not only is it going to be a solar water heater, but this surface here is actually going to be a rain harvesting surface. So all the stone that you will see in my drawing, all this type of stone is kind of like, I forget what style off the top of my head, but it's just kind of like, I would say maybe more European or something. I call it modern classic. That's all I can think of it as. It's really beautiful. Broken stone, different materials, natural stone, and also maybe some exotic stone, something small, but gives you that kind of just a little jewel, a little sparkle or whatever. So anyway, in the center here, these arches, by the way, are 5 feet wide, and in the center, this is just one big wall with an arch in it, and there's going to be a hallway back here. See, down here there's going to be a hallway, and I know that this project was not meant to be a full model, a full house, but just the way that I design, I have to visualize things as a full, on a larger scale. So, I said 2 rooms. I'm like, okay, how are these 2 rooms related to another realistic? If this is a human occupiable room, then obviously they want us to think about it in real life terms. So the only way for me to think of it in real life terms without being frustrated by the simplicity of the design is to say, okay, how might this area of the house be connected to another area? So I said, a master suite, outdoor courtyard, rooftop, bathroom, massage chair, maybe a hallway, maybe some kind of walk-in closet outside near the entrance of the room, hallway, office. That's kind of the context that I'm looking at it from. So let's go ahead and dive in. As I showed you before, these are all just basic lines measured off. Each room is 10 by 10, and then I use an offset, which is O. And O is to offset by any amount of space. So you see there, I just offset it by 8. It's going to give me 8 inches because I didn't specify the foot mark. Now it's going to give me an 8-inch offset, and then I can, if I wanted to, trim up these walls, give you a nice clean look there, but I don't want that, so we're going to hit U to undo, and U again. Now I'm back to my original. So let's go ahead and look at what I've done here, and I'm going to go Control 0. This one I'm in right now is called Clean Screen. We're going to make the screen kind of messy, and I'm going to show my layers so that way I can show you guys the walls I've already started to build. And then we're going to move along, and I'm going to show you how to build a basic element. And so here we go. This light bulb is to turn layers on and off. So now here's the walls activated, and you see here over to the right you have perspective projection, which is a lot of what we're learning about, and then also you can click here parallel projection, which is a perfect bird's eye view, which is what I used to use. Now I often use this parallel projection, and I could even do like, you know, render just by typing in render, hit enter or spacebar, and it's going to show me a basic rendition of these solids, not the lines. It's only going to show me the solid parts. If you want to see the lines and the solid parts, you have to use plot, just P-L-O-T. And I just wanted to show you basics of, you know, AutoCAD in my workflow. And let's see, what can I talk about while I'm waiting for this to render? There's going to be a tree in my courtyard. I'm probably going to have hanging plants in the actual room part of it. As you see here, as it's rendering, you don't see any of those orange lines because it's only going to render solid objects. And excuse me. And once it's done, it's going to show you down below the project basic temporary name, the output size, which right now is very small, 640 x 480. You can make it as big as you want, it just takes longer. It tells you how long it took to render, and it tells you the preset, which is medium. So it's not perfect, but it's just kind of okay. Now, one cool thing that I like to use is Orbit, O-R-B-I-T. And with Orbit, you can actually rotate around in your model. And I totally hope that this is not like cheating by any means, but the way I feel about it is they asked us to be unique and individuals. They asked us to come up with, you know, a project with 2 rooms, and I feel like I'm going to take this on, you know, as I would any job, any project I work on. I start with a basic sketch, you know, which I did my basic sketch, floor plan. I tried a parallel projection. I wasn't happy with it, so I redrew it. I think it's a lot cleaner. And you know, so I do everything that I'm asked to do, but also part of my design process is to explore and really become a master of my craft, which is architectural engineering. And you know, I have a pretty good background of engineering, science, and math. You know, and basics of like physics and stuff like that, chemicals, different processes, and all that kind of good stuff. But anyway, you can see here that if I find my mouse again, I just I basically took these lines and I converted them into what we call regions, and then I was able to extrude them. You guys have heard that word before. Extrusion is basically to take something that is kind of a flat, two-dimensional shape and to add depth to it. And I'll show you how easy that is in a minute. But I'm going to go ahead and move on now, and I'm going to work on converting. Let me rotate back around here to the other side. So, but you can see here, this is kind of the entrance. This is going to be the courtyard, and these lines are just the geometry which help me line up everything. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some solids here, and I'm going to subtract away solids from solids to make an even more beautiful solid model. I'm going to show you how to do that on this middle section, and then I'll basically just show you a rendering of the basic environment You guys will see that in my discussions. I'll post some pictures of it. You guys can check it out. And like I said, hopefully this is totally legit with the Academy. And you know, if you guys want to know how to do some cool modeling with AutoCAD, or if you guys need help and wanting to get started to do your own projects before they actually teach you how to do it, I believe that I could be a good teacher. You can always talk to me about anything, you know. So having said that, let's go ahead and I'm gonna just dive right in here to this model and start making that wall 3D. I'll show you how I do it. So I'm going to do a time check here with my Camtasia Studio. 20 minutes. Definitely a lot longer than I thought it would be. That's okay. So what we're going to do is let's see here. Well, first of all, I'm going to join these two lines together so I can get one solid line. And then I'm going to figure out how long that line is. And that line is 9 feet 4 inches. Okay. So 9 feet 4 inches. We know that our arches are 5 feet long, and let's just verify that by making a basic reference line. Okay, it is 5 inches. Oh. Alright, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to copy all of this outside geometry by selecting it, and we're going to make one solid block. Okay, so to copy, we're going to do CO and enter. I'm going to pick a base point to copy it from and move it to. So we're going to pick some space out here, and we're going to use our ortho to move it somewhere this way. Now once we have that, I'm going to pan over to that area. I'm going to do some basic extension. Okay. Now I'm going to do region. Region is going to take this these 4 lines, and it's going to make it a plane. It's now a plane, but it's actually, I don't know. I mean, that is a plane, but I don't know if a region, if all regions would be considered planes. I guess they could be, because planes can take different shapes. I guess that's something that somebody can clarify for me. But now what we're going to do is, we know that this is, now it's basically just a 2D flat. Now if I orbit, if I type it in right, so if I orbit to the same kind of angles, you can see here it's not, there's no depth, right? And if I go up to our layers, and if I turn on the solid model layer, you can see the walls here are extruded, and this is obviously not. All I have to do is click on that wall, hit EXTRUDE, extrude, hit enter. Now you see we get a dialog box, and I can move the mouse up and down, and I can click anywhere at any height, or I'm going to type in manually 12 and the foot mark, because these are 12-foot walls. It's 10 by 10 by 12. The reason why I went with 12-inch instead of 10-inch walls is because, instead of 10-foot walls, is because the solar feature is high above the doorway, such that when you walk through this glass door and this glass kind of wall area, you're not going to be restricted by the space in that 10-foot by 10-foot room, because it's going to be way up here, and you can just walk around underneath it, and you still have the full 100 square feet. So now I'm going to basically orbit a little bit more. Actually, you know what? I don't have to do that. I'm going to take this object, I'm going to do move with the M, and we're going to use this outside point, which, by the way, I made these grips a lot larger because I like to have a lot larger grip to see what I'm snapping. And there's that. So if I do pan, and then if I do orbit again, now you can see that there's a thicker wall here, and I'm going to put an arch between this base here. We're going to build up a wall here, and you can see the thickness of that wall just like that. And we're going to put most likely half concrete and half glass, or all glass, down the center section here. I'm still kind of freestyling it, and this is why I like AutoCAD, because I start with a basic sketch, a basic conceptual sketch, and then from that conceptual sketch I go into a basic model of form. And once I have the basic form, I rotate around and I kind of play with what is it going to be. And because this little screencast is a little bit longer than I thought it was going to be, that's no problem. My YouTube channel can support long screencasts. But what we're going to do is we're going to go view as soon as my computer responds. We're going to go view with V, and we're going to view from the front. And you can see this is the front view now, but we're going to put it on parallel projection because we're going to use some more lines. We're going to make some more lines here, so we're just going to pan over a little bit more. What we're going to do is I'm going to take a line and I'm just going to expand a little bit. Doesn't really matter, it's just a reference line. I'm going to do another line, and we're going to make this line, this is going to be kind of the height of the arch. So I'm thinking if the wall is 12 feet high, I want the arch to come to at least the 8-foot mark. The arch is a 5 foot, so let's see here. How high do I want to do that? Let's start with the circle to make the arch. You just hit C, choose a point, then you can start to drag out. You can also hit D for diameter, hit enter. Now it's going to ask you to specify diameter. We know it's going to be a 5-foot diameter, so 5 feet. There goes our diameter. We're going to do 2 lines, or we're going to do a line. We're going to use quadrant snap, and snap to the quadrant there. I kind of messed up on that line. That's fine, just get rid of it. We're going to do trim. We're going to trim the bottom of that arc. For some reason it's not letting me trim the bottom of that arc, probably because of the view that I'm in. Let's see here. Make sure that the lines are all the way to the edge. Still not doing it. Let's try to break it, and break it from the quadrant. And obviously something is a bit screwed up there, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this, or I'm going to pause this, and I'm going to come back to that. Alright guys, so I finally designed the arch the way that I wanted to. It's kind of an Ogi arch. I don't believe it's a true Ogi, but it's Ogi-ish. And so you see here I just have some lines, some arches here, and I'm going to use the region tool to make it kind of a two-dimensional kind of surface or plane that I can kind of extrude. So region, spacebar, I'm going to use the green selection and select everything, hit spacebar. Now there it is. Now what we're going to do is we're going to extrude this shape by clicking on it, hitting enter. Now we know that we want this shape to be 3 feet deep, so we're going to go 3 feet. There's that. I can flip on ortho or perspective projection and zoom out a little bit, and if I orbit, you will see the thickness of this arch. Now one thing I have to do is I need to rotate this arch so that way the face of this arch is the same face as the wall that we want to subtract it from, and that's going to be a big thing. And actually what we want to do is okay. So we're going to view top and apply. Now this gives us a good perspective. So we're going to, first of all, we're going to copy as well. We're going to I gotta get my other computer going. This thing is killing me, it's so slow. We're going to copy that object, pick a base point, and duplicate this object 3 different times. Okay, and we know that each of these need to be rotated. We're going to rotate this first one, RO. We're going to choose a base point. Anywhere is fine. Since I'm on ortho, it's automatically going to ask me to switch, and because it's symmetrical, it doesn't matter what direction I go. I'm just going to click and accept that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this shape and I'm going to select it from the midpoint of the shape, somewhere down there. I think that, let me just move it over here for right now. I'm going to move it here just so I'm not confused by which point I'm selecting. We're going to rotate down a little bit if it'll let me. How about this? Yeah. So let's just select this arch. We're going to hit move, and we're going to pick a base point that is the midpoint of the solid object itself, signified by the triangle. Now once I do that, I can line it up to my wall here, the center or midpoint of this wall. Okay, now that I have that, what I could do is then say, okay, I have 2 objects. We're going to use subtract, and this is the cool part. We're going to do subtract, if I spelled it right. Okay, and we're going to first select the object that we want to subtract from. So we have this rectangular shape, this rectangular form. We want to subtract from that. We're going to select that, hit enter. Now we're going to select the solid that we want to subtract, which is the arch that we just created with basic lines and arches. We select that, hit enter, and there you have it. Now it was that easy. The hardest part is getting your geometry, making sure that your geometry is precise, and making sure that you have very distinct midpoints. And this is how I design actually 100% of all of my models. I use all solid modeling. I very rarely use, the walls that AutoCAD will give you or other objects, because I find that they tend to not be what I'm actually thinking of or what I need, because a lot of my designs are complicated. But you see here, you can see the lines of that arch there, only because it's at the very back of that solid shape. And you see here, this wall is ready to kind of receive some glass here in a bit. But we're going to end this webinar here. I just wanted to show you how to take basic geometry, how to extrude them, kind of give you a little bit of insight on my project one, the window table room. And also the other last thing is that I'm going to take these other two arches here, I'm going to rotate those and they're going to go into place, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to create some solids, I'm going to subtract some arches, and then this one here is going to, this arch in the center is going to basically be lit by the sun from sunrise to sunset. I'm thinking it might be a cabinet, it might be a closet, it could be a closet area. I just thought about that, a closet with a bench here outside of the room. And being part of a master suite, you have closets, and you ladies will love that. But it can also be a shelf of a glass shelf with maybe some art. It could be pieces of art. So from sunrise to sunset, the idea is that because this orientation is from it's more south facing here in the center and kind of east and west there, we know that at noon this particular feature or this particular cabinet or nook is going to have the maximum amount of natural light in it. And so part of my technology is I have things that kind of follow the sun and kind of channel solar light into other spaces, so that way you can have a lot less lights on in the daytime. I hate artificial light almost always. I mean, big giant stores, and I mean, you just don't get me started on that. But anyway, that's kind of what I'm going to do there. So you can see here, it's really not too bad. The only other thing I'm going to do is knock a hole in the center of this wall, so that way the light from the roof will shine in this area here. And we're going to put we're going to take that same shape, and it's going to be glass, and we're going to put a glass covering on it. May even put a frame in there. It just depends on how much time I have to do this model. I just want to get the assignment done, but I definitely have a lot of fun with these type of projects, because it really shows me how strong of an architect I am. And I learned everything on my own, because I used to volunteer a lot, and that's kind of just what I did. I wasn't a big fan of reading books back in the day, but now with the internet, I can Wikipedia, research buildings, I can watch documentaries, I have online classes, you have other books that you can buy, and I read different manuals, different books and lectures and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of how I learned what I learned. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and leave you with that thought there, and I look forward to seeing all of your projects, and definitely stay posted with my blog, the Phil Bailey blog. Keep me posted with your ideas. Chat with me. I'm a pretty open guy. I'm pretty open book. Nothing to hide here. Just kind of love chat, and I'm all for meeting people and for learning new things and teaching people things and all that good stuff. So anyway, hope you guys are having a good, blessed day, evening, night, wherever you guys are, and I will talk to you guys soon. Phil Bailey, architect at Academy of Art University. See you later.